A message for my people.
Nick Dad, baby. We the new label.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, son.
Now this the black sheep sticking its home. I need a crib
Like I'm Gatsby.
I
Need
need it in
it.
hand. Just understand my
Pockets that deep.
with nothing to prove. I ain't got nothing to do. When they can't compete and I got nothing to lose. They told me I'm the one that's gonna
baby.
benefit.
Veterans Minimum, the number one sports betting vibe on the internet. I'm your handsome host, Nick Dais. At Nick Dais 10 as you can find me. All things Veterans Minimum is where you can find Veterans Minimum. Big ups to the members of the Patreon. We'll get to you guys a little later. 83 members, bro. $1 a day. No,
Every day.
Sorry, $1 a month.
Wow.
3 cents a day. We're
Two coffees a
we're
year.
gonna $1 our ways to 5 figures. You know what I'm saying? Just $1. You don't even realize it on your statements. To my left, top 2 bald guys in my life.
Yes.
You've become number 1 now, bro.
Yeah?
Yeah, you passed Stone Cold Steve Austin. I didn't think anyone would ever do it.
Holy shit.
That's
This
a
is
big-
a,
it's
now
a big
now you
moment.
got me
Yeah.
going for
Yeah.
this episode.
Let's
You've
fucking
been
go.
fired up. You
Yeah.
actually acted like talent today. And Nick never acts like talent, but there was a couple of talent moments before the show where Nick hit him with a little and I love that about you. You're fired up today.
I feel good.
And we have a
man.
great guest
We
today.
do have a great guest. Friend of the show.
Yes.
One of my close friends here in Vegas. He's been on the show before. I don't say this often, but a big bro also.
I can sense it between the two of you.
Yeah, he's always looked out. We actually had never met until I moved to Vegas through a mutual friend. Shout out to Chris Moorhan, another friend of the podcast. Jason Griggs, everybody.
Oh.
Jason.
I feel like you've upgraded since I've been back, man. This is awesome.
It's been
You're
good.
moving up, man. Quick.
It's been a good
Fast,
run.
bro. You're going straight up to the sky.
I got no complaints. Life is good, like Future and Drake said.
Mhm.
I do mean that though, bro. I always tell you how much I appreciate you. You're always looking out. Even before I moved here, he was like, "Yo, we need some more fucking New Yorkers in Vegas to
It's
take
true.
over this shit."
Oh.
So we're out here. I do want to say one thing that I don't think you know about this, but it's a Marab story. Another friend of the show. We got a lot of friends of the program, bro.
We're becoming that as well.
You know, listen, I will say one thing. Shout out to Jasmine. She won her MMA fight over the weekend. Veterans Minimum is 8-0.
Post podcast fight.
Your first fight after the podcast, we're undefeated.
Wow.
Marab came on the show, then he fought Sugar Sean. Title is with us. Shout out to Syndicate. So I'm not asking for percentages, but a pat on the back would be nice.
Got to ride the winning streak, man.
The winning streak. But funny story about Marab. When we had him on the show, right, was working with they were an old sponsor, and they reached out to me and they're like, "Yo, we want you to do this interview on our behalf, and in exchange, we'll let you interview Marab." And I was like, "Am I going to get paid for this? Because I no longer work with this company." And they were like, "Nah, you get Marab. He's the number 1 contender in the UFC." I was like, "Hold on, I got someone on the other line." I hang up the phone. I called Jason. Jason's like, Marab's like his right-hand man. Jason is the reason why Marab and Aljamain Sterling, they all moved out here to Vegas. They're friends from New York and shit. I go, "Yo, Jay, I don't really ask you for favors, bro. So-and-so happened." Jason's like, "Fuck that, bro." He's like, "Get the money. I'll call Marab right now on a 3-way. Make sure he does your fucking podcast." And I never told it on the show, and I never told you, because I knew I was going to get you on the show, but I wanted to tell you this.
Those guys are the best, man. They're good people. Great people. So I'm thrilled Marab won. We could talk about his fight, and that was a great experience.
Let's do that now,
Went-
bro. Let's talk about
Alright.
that now. You went to the fight, right?
Went to the fight. Went to the Sphere. I obviously don't like O'Malley because of the Aljo situation, but those two guys are amazing. I'm such a big fan of them. I think they're unbelievable role models in their craft. And you watch MMA, and then what's cool being friends with those guys is I've got to try it with them. And you do a couple workouts with those guys, and you quickly realize that they are the best athletes in the world, and it's not even close. So we went to Boston for Aljo's fight. Didn't go his way, but then we ran it back with Marab, and what a cool experience. So the Sphere was awesome. Did you go? Did you
No,
guys go?
I didn't go to it.
So the Sphere was crazy, like the whole backdrop and whatnot. But the fights were good. The Ortega fight was good, but then somehow this always happens to me. I weasel my way down. You start high, and as the card's going, before I know it, I'm cage side with his whole crew. I have a flag on with his like homies from Georgia, and we're just going crazy. And Merab, he kicked ass. Like he just dominated him. It was a clear cut victory. He's the champ, and I hope O'Malley gets to fight him again. But Jan looked good the other day.
Jan did look good, man.
Jan looked good the other day.
And I'll tell you this, George. When I was at the gym,
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, yo, how do you guys feel about the fight? Like, I've never seen everybody more like sure of a fighter. They were like overly like, bro, that we're gonna fucking ragdoll this dude. I was like, really? They're like, bro, we're like not nervous at all. I was like, really? He's O'Malley, all that. They're like, dude, he's gonna violate him. And how it played out,
Sure enough.
it's crazy.
How crazy did the Georgia fans that you were partying?
Yeah,
with?
they were out of control.
Yeah.
They were out of control.
Like, how many security guards had to come and be like?
No,
yeah,
that was the thing. There was no security. There was a lot of us. I have a couple of videos. There was some nasty stuff being said toward O'Malley, which was great. But we were just going crazy. We were just so happy. Like it was after that first round, you could just tell like he had it. Like the threat was over. He was shaking out his arms a lot. He just didn't have the juice that he normally has. And it was great. Like it was just a great night. And then we took him to Access. We took him here. And the thing about Merab is like I've seen like celebrities and like these sports guys. Like when we got to Access, I think it was around like 11:15. I was there till 5 a.m. ish. He did not stop taking pictures with people for like almost 6 hours. Just random people, he did not take a water break. Just kept taking pictures, and he's just a great dude, and I hope the best for him. I think he's gonna be an awesome champ in the UFC.
Bro, I've seen it at the gym too. Like everybody from kids to parents. Like when he came back to the gym at Syndicate with the belt, like just like a line of people wanting to pay all the time. It's nuts. Good dude.
Well,
yeah.
here's the thing. I have 2 boys, and you look at him versus the guy he fought, and you're like, who do you want your kids to role model after?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Follow them both on Instagram. You can watch them both in public, how they talk, how they act. It's a night and day scenario, and you're like, this person is like a really good person and holds himself like a professional. I just wish the UFC would see that a little bit more and get behind him a little bit better. But if he keeps winning, they have no choice.
Yeah, like his route was interesting because he started doing the social media stuff within the last year, and that blew up because he is a personality. And then it gets to a point where you're just undeniable. Like you couldn't not give him the title fight, right? So it just gets to a point where it's like, and they tried so many times, like Cejudo and Aldo and all these guys. It's like Jan. And it's like, bro, at this point, I've won, 10, 11 fights in a row, and I'm dominating these dudes. It gotta be me.
The one point that wasn't talked about, in my opinion, just like being friends with those guys, like Aljo fought him like early 6 months prior. Aljo is a computer. Like he is so into the game. Like he knows, like it's amazing. I love watching fights with him. And then the fact that his best buddy is fighting him, and you don't think he told him every single thing to look out for? Like, I feel like he had the answers to the test before the freaking test was even written. So I feel like that wasn't talked about, that Aljo really did a nice job coaching him, and then Merab went out and just executed perfectly.
Bro, I was going to save this for later in the show, but since we're staying on this topic, you good, bro? You could call. Let it out your system, man. It's these plants.
Oh my
The
God.
plants in the studio, the allergies
You
are
have to
just
hold it in. It's the worst.
are just kicking in.
God damn.
Fake plants, by the way. I'm just trolling. But yo, Jay, I want to ask you, man, because it's interesting because our dynamic, we're both New Yorkers, and now we've moved out to Vegas. You were a big part of getting Merab and Aljo, and I'm sure a lot of other people from New York to come to Vegas. He's a lifelong Vegas person, never lived anywhere else. Tell me how you feel about Vegas heading into 2025. Like, is it still the booming city that everyone's making it out to be? Should people still make the the commitment out here? Like, it is a big commitment coming cross country, but like, tell me where, because you're also in the real estate space too.
So when I first moved here, 2011, I really saw an amazing opportunity based on the cost of living to be a lot lower than where we're from. The game's changed now.
Bro, the smile on your face, you know that I feel the pain of what I used to pay back in Astoria in comparison to here.
It's changed now. So when I first got into real estate, homes were $200,000. Now, like a nice home in Henderson's like $1 million minimum. So the game's changed. So to answer your question, I'm very confident in this town. I mean, what is going on? It's a full sports town. And that's what when I move people here, I will take New York, for example, because that's where we're from. Like, there's only so much to do, right? But here is 24/7, 365, and the events are just wild of the things that you could do, the people that you can meet. And so for Aljo and Marab, moving them out was kind of a no-brainer of like tax purposes, and they built the PI, and so I've helped a bunch of UFC fighters move here. But I think opportunity-wise, take yourself and myself for an example. We've made really good opportunities out of it because this town's on fire.
I'll never leave, bro.
I don't think I will either. My wife misses home where she's a New Yorker too. But the opportunity out here is just, it's insane. And the weather. The prices have changed though, big time. Because to go out in the strip, it's a lot different now than it was 10 years ago. I
went out over the weekend for Formula One. I paid $22 for a Corona. I was like, I only want one. They're like, yeah, $22. I was like, God damn.
Yeah. So it's like, it's like $1,000 to go out like the right way with the steak dinner and the parking and the valet and all the different things. But I don't know. That's just the price you pay for greatness.
Yeah, that's what happens with metropolises. Like I always, as I was growing up, I looked at New York City. Or you remember on ESPN how they would break down the tabs? It'd be like ESPN Atlanta, New York, Los Angeles. And I always used to think, I'm like, bro, one day, I don't see why Vegas shouldn't be one of these tabs. And to see it all play out, I knew it a long time ago. It never made sense to me as to why they were so afraid of the gambling aspect with the players and everything. It was so bullshit, but it's quick how people forget. And even before the show, we were talking about just like how relatively new, like, sports gambling is to the masses.
Yeah.
And like, that is definitely one of the things that happened once, I would say the Knights, really, the Vegas Golden Knights started, and it was like, okay, we can do this, and then it just blossomed into what we see today in DraftKings commercials every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So the last thing we need is the Hollywood to be built out, or like the Hollywood studios out in the Southwest area, and then we'll be a complete metropolis.
Well, the LA people have already invaded.
Oh yeah. They're already making it their own.
So, like, in comparison to where we're from, there's just, like, no BS here. The politicsness is not here in our town compared to where we're from. The weather, the traffic. Like, I used to tell people I have friends that have to pay over $100 a day just to go to work. They would look at me like, what are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, they have to pay money to do the toll or take the train to go into Manhattan and do all those things, and we just don't have that here. We're just like a small niche town, but on the entertainment side and the opportunity side, I don't think there's a better city in the world. Dana White talks about it all the time. There is not a better opportunity town in this country. It's like its own little America, he says, and it's so true. He's so right. There's everything. Literally anything. If you want to go hustle and make $150,000 being a blackjack dealer, you could go do that. You could go be a bartender. You could do whatever you want, and that's what's cool. And it's not like that in other towns.
And also, I think the other cool thing is that it's such a poppin' city that people constantly are coming in, right? The networking. No one ever. All the times I came to Vegas, I think 11 times before I moved out here. There was never a time I was like, oh, I gotta go to Vegas. Never, not once. It's always been like, I can't wait to get there. Now, there was one trip where spent way more money than I wanted to, which I'm sure everyone has, where I was like, I can't wait to get out. But like my entire duration here, I was thrilled through the moon. You know what I mean? Like it's not a city where you're like, oh damn, I gotta go. I know they're a punching bag on the show, but like it's not like you're going to Boise.
Right.
And you're like, oh shit, I gotta go to
I'll
Boise.
tell you, even without the strip, I love my life. Like my little Henderson bubble that I live in. It's just a great place to live. The people there are great. The weather's great. Good restaurants, food, and the opportunity for the job I'm in was awesome at the time.
One more thing I want to ask you is, and I don't know if you felt this. I'm curious because like moving, I've sort of understood who my friends and who were just acquaintances. There's been a lot of jealousy with me moving. Obviously with the things I'm doing and the people I'm involved with, and like, I feel as if I treat this studio like it's mine, right? Like when people come here, I'm very welcoming. I love being here. I show up early, even when I'm not supposed to, just because.
Because you're a New Yorker and you know how to work.
But it's dope. But it's dope though, right? Like if I didn't do that, I never would have met Cameron.
Right.
And now everything that's blossomed too. But I say all that because like one thing with me, and I'm fascinated with you because like you didn't leave, right? And it's not a knock to you. It's like for me, when I left, I realized like, oh, you only spoke to me because I was in a group chat with you. Or like no one has hit me up for just to check in or even like conversations. And then when I be going back home, I realize like little slick comments.
I get it too.
Right?
Yep.
Like,
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep.
Yeah, it's like I had this conversation over the weekend with a couple of the UFC fighters. I was at a wedding. It was just all these fighters were there. And one of them went back home. And I was talking to him. I was like, yo, bro, you just went back home for the first time since you moved to Vegas. Like, what was the feedback like? And he told me people were telling him things like, oh, it must be nice. It must be nice. I'm like, yo, you should tell him it's dope, right? Like, if you're going to be a dick and tell me to make me feel bad about myself, no, I'm going to tell you like, yo, it's the best shit ever, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just curious what because I've been battling with this ever since I went on vacation. I had a lot of like thinking to do while I was in Colombia doing a lot of hood rat shit. Shout out to Isaiah. Sorry, boss, in the control room. But I started thinking about like, yo, who's really a friend and who is just a friend because like I grew up with you, but you're not really a friend. So like, how were you able to decipher? I know it's a loaded question, but I'm just curious.
I feel those comments. I get them too. But my thing has always been, if I could do it, you could do it. But the problem with where we're from is it's a very blue collar place. A lot of people get these jobs, cops, firemen, garbage men, mailmen, those type of jobs where you're just locked in for 30 years and you got to ride that out.
Yep.
And a lot of people just don't have a set of, you know what, to hop on a plane by yourself like we did and give yourself a shot.
Yeah.
Now, it's not easy. No one said it's going to be easy, but for me, like, I always had it in my mind, like, the worst thing that could happen is you could go back if you don't like it. And I don't know why people just, like, can't get that through their heads. They're like, well, there's just so many bad things in their mind, and there's not what if you hit a home run like you did, like I did? Like, what if that happens before all these negative things happen? So I've moved a lot of people out here. I think I'm up to, like, 16 or 17 people that I moved from just Long Island, which is a lot. So we have a little crew here. It's great. And every friend that I see back home struggling or complaining about their life, they hate it, the traffic, the weather, whatever. I'm like, dude, get on a plane and move here. It's literally that simple. Well, my family, I got family too, man.
Bro, the amount of times that people say that to me to make me feel bad, like, yo, what about your family? I'm like, bro, I talk to my parents every day. I got awesome friends back home. And I know I was kind of dumping on some that I was able to split up. But like, I got friends coming in March for the UFC card. It's my birthday weekend too. So I'm gonna have like 8 people coming. Those aren't the people that I'm talking about. But the other ones that'll be like, yo, dude, I can't do what you did because like I'm close with my parents and my friends. I was like, I wasn't?
Yeah.
Like, I just think it's a crutch and it's an excuse that they use.
I call it like give a shout out to McGregor, like the stuck in the mud division. Like you want to do something, but you just can't. So what's cool about my position now is like I'm able to coach people kind of through it, where I did it, and if you just follow the same path, you just got to get on the airplane and get here. And if you Nick, if you moved here and you came to this hotel for 30 days straight and you didn't drink any alcohol and you just walked around and started talking to people, you would find the job. You would find the job in a second. You really would. But you gotta have a good attitude. You gotta be a good person. You gotta work hard. And then once the opportunity comes, I took it and ran. That was all I needed. Like I put in a lot of time and effort into coaching. I coach lacrosse, and people saw that. They're like, "Wow, this guy is giving his time, devoting to kids for no money." And as soon as they saw that for a good year, the opportunities started coming out of nowhere.
Yep.
And that's what happened. So I tell everyone, because everyone's like, "Oh, I want to get into real estate." I'm like, "Go coach sports for a year.
Mm-hmm.
Go coach sports to get your real estate license." They're like, "Well," and then the excuses start to come. And I'm like, "Go coach a sports team and go get your real estate license." And they're like, "Well, why are you going to say that?" I'm going to be like, because every single one of those parents are going to be your clients. And then those people are going to tell their friends of how awesome you are. And then it's just going to explode. And that's exactly what happened with me. That's what I did.
Seems pretty simple. Yeah. You just got to do it.
It's a lot of hard work.
Well, okay, I'll ask you this. Both of you. The Las Vegas hustle compared to the New York City hustle.
Zero.
Zero, yeah. Very
Zero
different.
difference.
Very different.
Very different or zero difference?
I think, yeah, like very different. Like there is no hustle here.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by zero. Like
I'm going to elaborate.
I wonder if it's, so I've always had this take, and I've said this about sports teams too. West Coast teams, naturally, when I think of West Coast, I think of finesse, flash, and like soft, right?
Yeah.
Northeast, it's like 32 degrees right now back home in New York. And then for the next 4 months, you're going to see a lot of single digits often. So I feel like it builds character. It builds like the blue collar mindset you were talking about. So when I moved out here, like you, yeah, I'm down. Let me work on this. Let me do this. Having all these different avenues of income coming in are just opportunities. Or like, I feel like there is no hustle here. Like the people that do is people that I think are from those places, like the Jersey, tri-state area.
I'll use a sports analogy. Where we come from, you got to start at home plate. A lot of people out here, they want to start at third base. They want to skip first and second, and they want to go right to third, right to the top, and not really earn the keep of the grind of it. But there is a hustle here, but it's a different kind of hustle. This town's very money hungry.
Yeah.
Very money
It's
hungry.
A hospitality hustle.
Yep.
I think we out hospitality we rival the fucking all inclusives that people pay tens of
blow it away.
Yeah,
blow it away.
Yeah. But that's where I would say I've seen the noticeable difference, because I loved going to New York. I felt, to be honest, like right at home, like with the pace of play, because back when I was working at the studio, it was 7 days a week. We were recording shows every fucking day. And so when I went to New York, I felt that. But yeah, now you're coming out here, I feel like that could be another thing you tell people is like, you just being your normal self will outshine most people here in Vegas.
Like in this town, if you do a favor for someone, that person, if I ask you for a favor, you're going to want something from me for it. That's how it is in this town.
Yeah.
All the way, 10 out of 10 times. I wasn't used to that. It's like if you did somebody a favor, I got you on the next one type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Here, it's very
transactional.
How much money are you going to give me because I helped you? It's very like that in this town, especially in the world I'm in. Well, Nick, yeah. I don't know about you, but I see it. I see it a ton.
Well, we grow up our whole lives, and a lot of our families are solely paid off of tips.
Yeah, no.
And so like, there's the implied mentality of like, if I don't get it from you, I'm getting screwed from these people anyways. Like, that's why you should always tip the people that clean your room, people.
Do you know where the kickback came from?
No.
Like in the industry? The guy who started Scores. You ever read that book? I know we're talking about books today, but I read that book.
Jay, I'll be honest. I struggle to read tweets. Books ain't my
I read
thing,
a lot
bro.
of mob books anyway. I read this book. The guy started Scores, and he had the brilliant idea, and he was like, for every cab driver and this is in the 80s, that's going to bring people to my front door, I'm going to give him $5. He was the only place in Manhattan who was doing it. Guess what happened? It
Everybody.
exploded. Every place started doing it, and it got out to Vegas and Atlantic City and whatnot. But that guy who started Scores was he pretty much invented the kickback within the club game.
Nah, it's definitely a transaction city. As far as like favors, right? Like, yo, I run a nightclub, you run a restaurant. You come to the nightclub, you skip the line, you get a comp bottle. I come to your restaurant,
Free meal.
appetizers are free or drinks are free, whatever it might be. And yeah, I think it's just doing favors. It's hookups, right? Like what's wrong with that? And I think that's the coolest thing about this city too, man.
Now, if you got the juice in the city, it's a powerful thing.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than hosting people from your hometown or wherever, and you just like walking right into access, or you're walking right into the place and not even like the Goodfellas. And it's easier this way. You're like, damn.
Mhm.
But it takes a lot of work to get to that.
Nah, for sure. And what you said earlier, to just put a bow on this conversation, as far as just like being genuine and being real, that's another thing I feel like us as New Yorkers, we're able to sniff it out.
Oh yeah.
Like the amount of people, I'm just like, I don't know if I like being around that guy.
Mhm.
Like immediately I could just sense it, right? Like could sense someone's a fraud, even in their field, right? If they portray themselves to be this like big shot, you're just like, not really. I could snip through that. And that's why I think us two really connected from the first time. I met him at another studio, and we just hit it off right away. And it's been cool because he's blessed the show so much. I tell him all the time that like the value of the show has skyrocketed a lot because of him. He's running the social pages. TikTok is going fucking crazy. I'm getting cooked.
It is.
I'm getting cooked
Oh.
for the
Thank
bro.
God.
Yeah, nah. He's been great, man.
It's a
He's been great.
contract
And
year.
like, yo, bro. Last thing, like I said, for me, I always say we with everything that I'm doing with the show. I know where I envision it going and what it's capable of. And I want to have like my people be contributors to the show, right? And even Dom, who we shout out Dom every episode now, but he does all the social clips that people see. He started as an intern, graduated college because of the show, and now he runs production for the New York Giants, like their social media. And he still helps out with the show, cuts up the clips and all that. But now I'm paying him, paying George. And it feels good. Because, like, delegating has been a word I didn't know about a year ago,
Yep.
bro.
You gotta
I've
delegate
had
to
to
grow.
figure that out.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, for me, it's been something that I've had to learn, like, from the business side of things. But it's been great, man. It's been great. And like I said before, bro, I definitely appreciate you coming on the show and how you always look out.
Yeah,
That don't
well,
go
I'm a big
unnoticed. I
fan
think-
of the show. It's cool to watch people grow.
Yeah.
Right? It's a cool thing to watch. We met. You're like, look, I just, when I met you, you just were getting in here.
Yeah.
Now you're in here, and now you're working with two of the biggest guys in the pod game. From what you're telling me, it's amazing. But good things happen to good people, bro.
Nah, that's
and you're gonna keep grinding your way to the top. There's no doubt about that.
Nah, I appreciate that, man. That means a lot for sure. And last thing about Vegas, it'll start segueing into this. You wanted to talk about Formula One.
Oh boy.
So Formula One was this weekend. This
Oh,
is
yeah.
not a Formula One show. However, it was in our hometown, and we got to experience all the chaos and the traffic and all that. You were fired up to talk
Yeah, I was
about
fired
how
up, man.
Formula One is overrated. I agree with you.
Bro.
Tell me why.
Okay, so I went with a positive attitude, and I had a great time. I got invited to a party at Lavo. So we're all hanging out, having a great time. The cars are going around. And I swear to God, I got a couple of drinks. I looked up, and everyone's like, it's over. I'm like, what do you mean it's over? They're like, it's over. I felt like 5 minutes, like, first of all. But my breakdown of it, I was like, they spent 6 months in this town building this and the traffic and hurting people's businesses for 2 hours. Like, I honestly, I didn't even realize it was that quick. And then I was like, well, who won and whatever. And the thing that bothered me, I was like, did anyone like beat each other? Like, was there any changes in the order of the cars? And the guy was like, there was only one. I'm like, they raced around for 2 hours and there was only one change? I'm like, I don't know. I was just like, this sport doesn't make sense to me at all.
So I went last year to the race. And it's something that I think it's dope to do once.
Okay.
I was by the Bellagio fountain. So I had a nice view of like Las Vegas Boulevard. And I could see them hitting like the 226, 218. But like, bro, after the car goes by, I'm looking at the Jumbotron. So I'm freezing. And I'm watching it how I would watch it at home on ESPN Plus. And I couldn't understand it. Now on TV, again, I'm not a Formula One guy, but after that race, I started watching a couple of like the bigger races, like the Monaco Grand Prix. My dad loves Formula One. And like everywhere else, it's like massive, right? And on TV, it's dope. But like in person, wild overrated, bro.
Overrated.
You see
the way
cars?
it was boosted up, like
Yeah.
it's a huge sport in the world. It's
Yeah,
not just,
yeah.
And I was like, that was it? Like comparing it to the stuff we go to with the UFC fights, I'm like, it's not even close.
Bro.
Like the funness of an event.
Yeah, it's the multiple days. They try to sell you on like, well, it's a 3-day pass. You could see them fucking do practice laps and pole position, the qualifier, and you're just like, I
don't know, man.
Yeah, it's not fun because you'll spend thousands of dollars and you won't even be able to go see like the car up close. You're watching it from 50 yards away, and it was pretty empty this year, without a doubt.
Well, I'm calling it the F1 flop because I have a lot of Airbnbs here in this town, and none of them were booked this year. Now, last year, forget it. Killed it. Made so much money. This year, none of them were booked.
But yo, we were talking about this a couple weeks ago. We were talking about Formula One, just how like, yo, the traffic coming into the studio and whatnot, and it's just all chaotic. Some people on Twitter were hitting me and like, yo, you're crazy. But I was like, yo, I don't know if I'd be as excited if the Super Bowl was here every year. I feel like eventually it would kind of get played out.
That's a good point.
That's why I think the Super Bowl is never in the same place every year. It's like, oh, we're going to go to Miami. We're going to go to Arizona. We'll go here. We'll try randomly like Minneapolis because they got a new venue. I think if you had it in the same place every year, it would kind of lose the appeal to it. We're like, I can't wait till it's back in Vegas now.
And I think they priced themselves out a little bit. Like they just made it too expensive. Like in the first year, people were like, I'm definitely not.
Bro, tickets were like 700% cheaper for standing and shit. You know what I mean? Like it's just not. Again, I just think that it's something that it's dope to do at one time. Like I had tickets to go this year, and I was like, oh, I'm cool.
The party I went to was great.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun. But I'm just talking about like watching it.
Oh, bro, and the talent,
impossible.
The talent. The women,
yeah,
you guys are out the game.
In this hotel, me and my wife came. It was bonkers.
Yeah,
like those Europeans, they could dress to the nines. And
yeah.
You could just tell, like
you could tell that they're not American.
The first day I said to my wife I go, do you smell the money that's in this place right now?
Yeah,
like you can just feel it. Like there's some big dogs in here.
I feel like there's never like that many cigarette smokers, but like F1 comes around and then before you know it,
they could puff away for sure.
As they're just betting thousands of dollars.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Casually.
Man. That Monaco and fucking Saudi money that came in for this event.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nuts. But again, like there's people that love Formula One. I can't even call myself a fan. It was a dope experience to do it one time. But like I said, I had tickets to go this year and I was like, I'm cool. Let someone else go.
Like the fact that there was only, I could be wrong. Maybe the guy next to me was incorrect. That there was only one change.
That sounds like
you're watching the same exact. Imagine watching the football game where the same play is ran over and over and over again. That's the analogy you have to use. I'm like, how was there? There was no score change. There was no. The guy's like one car passed another car. One car passed. That's it.
No crash. Like
no crash.
Yeah. For me, it's like how many crashes were there? Unfortunate. Was it cool though? Like that's where my mind goes.
Yeah, I don't know. Let us know in the comments how you guys feel about Formula One overall. And honestly, if you've been to a Formula One event, maybe your perspective is different. Because for me, like I said, it was cool to go one time. Didn't have the same excitement to go, but I love going to fights every week if I could. Fights are the best. I still think that when you go to a dope fucking card,
It's the best.
You feel like you hustled them. You're like,
Yeah.
we only paid how much? Now, there is the counter when you go to a wild card, you're like, damn, they hustled us. But again, you never know. Like sometimes fights just play out that way. And you're not sure. But for the most part, I think UFC
You
is my
go to a
favorite.
UFC card the way I do it. I'm out of my house at 2:00. You get to the arena by 3, and I usually don't get home till like 3 in the morning, because like you're there all day, you're doing the card, and then there's the after parties, which are amazing. And now with Dana at Red Rock, you could go gamble with him and with all those influencers, whatever. But it's like it's a full day of just nonstop fun. So I would agree with you that UFC has the best events in Vegas.
Fuck yeah. Good events. Especially when there's football the next day, too.
Yeah.
Just get to be a piece of shit for like 40 hours in a row.
Well, yeah, you could. I mean, this past Super Bowl, remember it was like UFC card, power slap.
Oh, the power slap's great
UFC
too.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It was an insane weekend in Vegas.
Yeah. Fuck, man. I want to talk some NFL, fellas.
Let's
Go.
Week 12 fallout. George, where do you want to start?
Shit. You had already called it that the San Francisco 49ers are done, but I think we could just start there. The conversation now is, are the Packers a legitimate threat to win the NFC and go to the Super Bowl? Who called that?
Come on, man. It's playing out the way I said. I said the Lions would win the division. Packers would go in as a wild card. They were my pick to win the NFC.
You think the Packers could beat the Lions
Yes.
in Detroit?
Yes. In division, I think it's a great matchup for them. I'm throwing away that game that they played in Lambeau because it was just like Jordan Love hasn't looked right. And I think people don't realize that they're 8-3. Like people talk about the Packers on like it's Philly and the Lions collision course. And I don't entirely disagree. I'm like, yo, don't forget about Green Bay. Josh Jacobs has been an amazing addition for him.
Yeah, no.
You've seen a
he's very
rebirth.
good.
You've seen a rebirth of running backs that were on shit teams that have gone to good teams. We'll get to the main one in just a bit.
Mhm.
We should have let off with that. I'm a little disappointed in you, but I know you're
It
saving.
was the first one on the list.
Yeah, you're
If
saving.
you cared that much about it, put it at the top of the list.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. We need a better producer of the show.
Come on.
Got to wake up on this one. But Jacobs, I think he's been great for Green Bay. I think their defense is awesome. There's still something about Detroit. We've been talking about it for weeks now. There's just something about them. I can't sniff it out.
I think the wheels are gonna fall. I'm the opposite. I think they're the best team.
I
by a
think
lot.
I think their defense is fraudulent. I don't think they have the defense that everyone thinks. I want to see them against a good offense and see if they could shut them down.
I don't think they're gonna shut people down. I think they're just gonna score 50 points.
You think they're just gonna run
Bro, I
away
think
with it?
they're unbelievable. I mean, I don't think we've ever seen a team like this in a long time. Kind of like the Patriots when Randy Moss was on the team a little bit. Like every play is like 40 yards. Every run, 30 yards. These motions that they're doing and the trick plays that they're doing is like, I don't know, like this guy Ben Johnson, right? That's the offense.
Yeah.
He's gonna get some head coaching interviews at the end of the year. But I think they're the best team in football
Yeah.
right now. I really do.
I mean, you've seen it your whole life, though, and trust me, I love the Lions. I was heavy on them last year. Even 2 years ago, I was like, Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be a Hall of Fame receiver. And this year, it's going so good that I'm like, it's
Something's
still
gonna happen.
Detroit, bro. It's still fucking Detroit. Like, you can't
You're
run
not
away
giving them
from
the
it.
benefit of the doubt.
I can't.
Wow.
And my wife's family is from Michigan, and Pops would love to see a fucking Lions win the Super Bowl. It's just like,
They
they're
have the
plagued.
Jets.
They're
They
plagued.
have the Jets curse. They're plagued. You think?
I think so.
I think they're getting over it. I think Dan
I would
Campbell-
love. I here's the thing. I don't think they're gonna get like steamrolled. I think it's gonna be in like the worst way to lose a game possible.
Really.
It'll be like a fucking Patrick Mahomes 13 seconds, like where it's like only that would stop them. And I know that they wouldn't meet up before going to the Super Bowl, but that type of scenario, yeah.
I think they have like a clear path to the Super Bowl. I think you're right though. The Packers could give them a challenge in the NFC Championship game.
Yo, so the thing with Green Bay is I just think that they're 8-3, right? And no one is treating them like they're 8-3.
Yeah, they're like a silent 8-3.
Yeah, because Minnesota's 9-2, Detroit's 10-1, Philly's on this crazy winning streak. And I thought Jordan Love blew out his knee in that first game in Brazil. So when you go back to that game and then you see that he's still playing, and I like how he plays. I like aggressiveness. If you're my quarterback, I want you to try to get a first down. If you throw an interception on third down, I'm cool with it. Don't throw picks in the red zone and don't throw picks on year 20. Everything else could be a bona fide punt for the most part.
I'm a little surprised you're not going with your guy Saquon.
For what?
I think
For them to win the NFC?
I think.
I
think it'll be the Eagles versus Detroit
Sure.
in the NFC Championship. I don't think the Packers will.
Yeah, I like Green Bay. The thing with Detroit, staying on them, because with the I'm good on the Niners. I said this last week.
Yeah.
I've been saying it for a couple weeks now. I wanted to come into the preview show because I said Baltimore wasn't going to make the playoffs. That was like my steaming hot take coming in from the AFC. And the NFC, bro, and again, audience, forgive me, I've said this time and time again. It's just a lot of red flags with them in the offseason, right? IU contract. McCaffrey was hurt. Debo was hurt.
They're like the Hollywood Saga team.
Yeah, Trent Williams had the contract issues. The fucking first round pick got shot, right? Like, it was just so much shit that was just red flags across the board. And you had the Super Bowl hangover. You had the rest of the division got good. So there was just a lot of things. Their schedule now is like a murderer's row.
Yeah.
You got a Buffalo game on there.
Hurting, man.
They're playing some tough games. So for me, it was just a lot of red flags that I had coming into the year. So I don't really want to talk too much about San Fran. It sounds like a broken record.
Yeah.
The problem I have with the Lions, they're beating the shit out of bad teams, which I like. They're covering the spread. Like, every time they've been a double-digit favorite, and they're a double-digit favorite 10.5 against the Bears on Thanksgiving. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to stomp out the teams that you're supposed to. But, like, I don't think they've been tested really. Like,
Right. They don't get like the Baltimores and the KCs, and the AFC is way better than the NFC.
for sure. And I want to see you in a game where, like, you're down in the fourth quarter. Let me see how it looks, right? Like Houston, the game with Houston, they had the 5 interceptions for Goff. That's an anomaly. I also think Houston's defense is really good. Their offense, I think, is where I'm concerned with Houston. We'll get to them in just a bit. But am I crazy about my concerns for Detroit?
You're not. Well, you're not crazy. Their injuries are also starting to pile up too. That just comes with being a very physical football team.
Yeah.
Like David Montgomery going out of the game, like them with 2 healthy running backs, elite. Like, who the fuck can stop them? With one of them, and especially David Montgomery, because Jahmyr Gibbs, I love him to death. He's a speedster, but he's not an every down back. Like David Montgomery, you could ride with in the playoffs, give him 26 carries, and he'll be fine. That's the bread and butter of the Lions. If you don't have that, I don't think they're as competent as a football team. When you make Jared Goff think too much.
That was gonna be my point. Like, every game I watch the Lions, like, the defensive line doesn't even come close to him. Like, he just drops back and he's just like,
Yeah.
flag football. He's just like dropping like.
I would love to play quarterback for the
dimes.
Lions. Yes.
Like their O-line is playing unbelievable, and he's just sitting back there like surgical.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I'm gonna disagree with both of you. I think maybe we'll do like a free friendly dinner bet or something. I think the Lions get there.
Win the
Yeah,
NFC?
well-
I think they win the NFC.
I feel like their injuries are starting to pile up. Anzalone out. Montgomery left the game, didn't come back. And I know they were controlling it, so maybe if it was like a close game, he would come back. Terrion Arnold, their first round pick, inactive. Carlton Davis got hurt, didn't come back. And again, if all these guys are on defense, and I'm concerned. I'm concerned.
4 division games left in the best division in football right now. So, like, that's the scariest part.
And yo, look, not for nothing, man. We saw your Cowboys against a Commanders team. No one gave them a chance to win. They won outright. In division, it's always wacky. We have Michael Irvin calls into the show for It Is What It Is.
The best.
And he's starting to open up too, so it's getting crazier every week. It's fucking awesome.
He's the
Playmaker is a psychopath in the best way
yeah,
possible.
yeah.
But he was talking about how, like, the year, George, that they won one of the Super Bowls in the 90s, that Washington won 2 games that year and they beat them. And like this was the year that the Cowboys won. So it's like those in division games, they're always going to be out of control, right? That's why they always say like the division games are hard. I almost blindly always take a double-digit dog in a division game, especially if you get those like wacky ones where they're at home. You're like, hold on, that's a lot of points, especially at home. It's one of those like spots I talk about. Like I kind of just always will take them.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think that a couple of injuries, man. They're already down Aiden Hutchinson, Anzalone, like I said. Taylor Decker left the game yesterday. But it wasn't anything serious. He returned to action a little bit later. But again, there's just something about them that just don't smell right with me.
Really?
Yeah.
You could be. I mean, you're better at this than I am.
But we'll see, though. We'll see, man. Like, look, this is a team they're on fire. Right?
Yeah.
They have the best record in football. We fucking talked about that.
10 quarters without allowing a touchdown. That shit is fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Like, that's a crazy... Put that into perspective.
I
man.
just like
2 weeks now.
like if it's 4th and 2, they're going for it. Like I just love that. Like there's no even like thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's going for it every time. Doesn't care. They run the ball really well. I think that win you a championship.
For sure.
Also want to mention, to his point about the 10 quarters, Mac Jones and Anthony Richardson at quarterback. So, like, I want to see them do this against...
It's 10 quarters in the NFL, Nick.
Fair. Yo, listen, fair.
It's
for
10
sure.
quarters in the NFL.
And I sound like a hypocrite because everyone that listens to the show sometimes when, like... So if I was on Detroit, this is exactly what I would say. It's like, yo, they beat up on the teams on their schedule, right? So I'm just trying to present the counter because I like the Packers and I like Philly, man. And that's where I want to go next.
How about Saquon Barkley?
Oh, it's not. I think it's just so great because of what happened to him in the offseason that just makes it that much better. Is this ever happened in the NFL where like it was just so public of like such a falling out of a team and just went to like literally right next door? I mean, Nick, you're a Giant fan. Like, do you just laugh or are you angry? Like, I know like you have your big future on him, which was a unreal pick by you, by the way. But I feel like it was, but it wasn't. Like, how did everyone else like not see like he was going to be really pissed off and he was going to play his heart out and he was going to he's unbelievable. He was just on a bad team.
Yes. It was pretty obvious if you just understand football, right? And you know this, I hate being a like, do you watch or do you know the game kind of guy? But the more people talk about the Giants and the Eagles and Saquon, the more I realize how many people just don't understand football. Because the amount of people that are like, how do the Giants let him go? Look at the talent. Bro, we're week 12, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every week I've been saying, guys, the teams are not the same. When he signed with the Eagles, I hit up George because I have everything saved for if he does win Offensive Player of the Year. I'm like, bro, he's winning Offensive Player of the Year. He went from the number 31 offensive line, the number 30 offense, which they should be 34th in both categories, and there's not 34 teams, he went to the number 2 O-line with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, and guess what? Our quarterback loves to run.
Yeah.
And I have this infrastructure and system there. The knock on him was just like, yo, he couldn't stay healthy, right? And if he was going to be healthy, this is what it was going to look like. But the Giants don't have those things. Yeah. So it's not a surprise. If you just understand football, it never looked like this in New York, and it was never going to look like this in New York because we don't have what they have. So it's not a surprise to anyone. And I said this, I'm probably the only Giants fan that's not upset by this. I'm loving it. I'm putting up videos tagging Matty Betts, another connect that you made for us. Thank you so much because he's been showing us love. He's one of my good friends in the space. My running back, and I have so many Giant friends like, why are you hyped? I was like, because you guys are idiots and you don't listen to me. I know this team inside out. Yeah. We have 4 years of waiting for us to be a year away. The teams are nowhere near the same. This is why he never looked like this. Bro, he's already... Hopefully it doesn't happen, but if he don't play another snap this year, it's the best year he's ever had.
Right.
Like numbers-wise. And why? Again, it's the scenario that he's in.
Yeah.
How many athletes do we talk to on the show or we've spoken to just in private also that they're like, CJ Watson comes on the show often, especially during the NBA. He's like, bro, I could get 30 every night if they gave me the opportunity to. If they allowed me to shoot the 26 times I could. He's like, I get my 6 shots a game, and if I hit the first 3, I might get 9. So it's no different than here, bro. It's just, it blows my mind, dude, because I see so many people that I respect in the sports space, and I'm like, yo, bro, y'all just don't know ball, man. And you're exposing yourselves. Like slandering the Giants for letting him go. You wanted him to re-sign. You thought it was going to look like this?
I'm like even more fascinated that he was considering signing back with the Giants. Like somebody in his team must have been like, timeout. This is over, dude. Like you're going to have to do so much better if you just leave somewhere else. Like just take it on the chin in the beginning. That guy's playing like angry, man. Like he is unbelievable.
Dude,
He is so good.
yo, it's unbelievable what he's doing. But again, if you just understand football and realize the scenarios, like it's so important. It's like, yo, the talent was never in question. It was the team that he was on, and we see it. Bro, they're fucking awful. They are bad across the board, just everything.
Horrible.
Players are calling out coaches, like Malik Neighbors was
He's
like,
a rookie.
yeah, as a rookie, he's like, he's fed up already, right? Like, dude, I refuse.
He's like, I hate losing. You've been here 2 weeks.
yeah, bro. But this is the thing, right? Like, dude, I refuse to watch the Hard Knocks of them because I saw the one clip where Schoen's son was like, bro, draft Jaden Daniels. How long are you gonna have this job?
Right.
Well, it ain't gonna be that much longer.
Yeah.
And to me, I refuse to watch it. And Saquon, all that shit played out over there. But again, like as I'm watching Twitter, as I'm seeing all these people whose opinion I respect, like I lost a lot of respect for people, bro. I'm like, yo, y'all just don't understand that. All right, he stays with the Giants. They're 2-9 now. What are they? 3-8? Like
The Giants are horrible.
It was never gonna look like this because the teams are nowhere near the same. I have to get that off the chest.
It makes you really think how many players in the NFL are like Saquon. They're just in the wrong spot.
Bro, almost every athlete
They're in
that
the wrong
you think
spot.
sucks is because they're in a bad situation.
You know who's somebody I love? I've always loved him like in college. I love Trevor Lawrence. I really love watching him play. I think he's such a great talent. Like he's so poised and good, and he's just on the worst football team. And like he has no help. And it's like he has a new coach every year. He's a new offensive coordinator every year. Like the guy has no shot. And he took less money and he did all these things. I'm like, if I was him, I would be like, dude, let's take way less money. Let's go somewhere where we're gonna win, where you're gonna dominate. Like he has no chance.
Yeah. Well, I also think the same thing about Travis Etienne, the running back. He's a fucking monster. Literally going into the season, he was one of I think he may have been the only running back. No. Like a group of 5 that played 2 consecutive seasons or something like that. Like he never missed a snap. And the dude produces every fucking game, and it's just another thing. He's gonna go move to I don't know, the Rams, and he'll be the next leveled up version of Kyron Williams. It's nuts to see what Saquon's doing. I really do think that. Nick, are you worried that he's going to win the fucking MVP? That's the real question now. Does the offensive player of the year bet get fucked because he wins?
It's kind of like the year that Dak and Zeke, remember that their rookie years where they were like competing like the offensive rookie of the year. Like they're doing so good that he's right. I didn't even think of that.
Well, for me, it's awfully reminiscent of last year. McCaffrey.
Right. You had McCaffrey.
I had McCaffrey last year. And he was in the MVP conversation. It's like, bro, it's a shoo-in that he's going to win. Like, I wasn't sweating it at all for Offensive Player of the Year. I was sweating him winning MVP, but I had bet that. We had bet, but we had said it in July before the season. It's like, yo, the only non-quarterback I could see winning would be McCaffrey at 150-1 at the time. So I had bet that. So for me, I was like, oh, I'm chilling. I kind of want him to win MVP. It's a bigger payout. But on the show, I've just been talking about Offensive Player of the Year. It would fucking break my heart.
Right.
If he won MVP.
He won the big one and not that, yeah.
And he didn't win Offensive Player of the Year because they're not going to give it to both. Like he wouldn't get both. But it just reminds me of the year McCaffrey had last year. And bro, I said this was going to happen.
Yeah.
Barkley was going to have the McCaffrey year from last year, and that's what you're seeing.
They can give them both. They did it with Lawrence Taylor and your Giants.
Yeah.
84.
I think those two guys,
That'd be sick.
McCaffrey,
That would be amazing for you. Them both would hit.
Nick, I think Saquon and McCaffrey single-handedly saved the running back position.
Good take.
I think they did.
It's so true.
They really, like, back-to-back years, you have somebody, like, a running back is, like, literally running over, no pun intended, the NFL. Two good guys.
Mm-hmm.
And the NFL likes that, remember. They want that. They want good guys. And Derrick Henry, too.
Yeah. I would say you could throw him in there, and then when the Saints are comparable, you could toss Alvin Kamara in there. Like, last Christmas was his 5-touchdown game.
Right.
Which was insane. Like, but he also just does that regularly. He's a 110 all-purpose yards, and no really like flashy highlights. Alvin Kamara is just like smooth like butter. He fucking gets to out of bounds every single play. It seems like. You need those highlight players though to like help promote the position, because NFL running backs were about to start getting dick.
Yeah, then
They already
there was no running backs anymore.
Yeah. They're like, I mean, I'm just talking about as future contracts and the way that organizations look and see which running backs are going to pick. I mean, your Giants kind of are finding it now with Tracy, like he's not like the worst thing. You can find people that can be comparable in the draft, low mileage, and you pay him nothing and you run him into the ground.
If I have the Giants, I don't want a $20 million running back.
Yeah.
Right. No, I've heard you
wanna
take
beat
on
it.
this before. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
If my team is good and I can afford a running back and everything else is solid, look at Philly. Everything else is great. You know, it would be dope if we get Barkley. All right, bet. Let's get Barkley. Now you see this. Yeah. But if my team sucks and I have all these issues, bro, let's look at the Raiders and Jacobs. He left, goes to Green Bay. He's having a monster season.
But that's another example of like some just moving a little over here and your career goes like this.
Bro, Derrick Henry, right? They just, we didn't get our trust me, 30-23, the Chargers.
Yeah.
So Monday winners are now 10-4-1 on the year for me.
30-23 was the final.
Yeah. And then also, trust me, is now 9-4 on the year. Well, with this one going south. But again, like, bro, if you have a bad offensive line, it's not going to look good, bro. Look at McCaffrey in Carolina the last couple of years he was there. And then he gets traded to San Fran. So I still wouldn't want to pay running backs, truthfully. But if my team is bad, I'm definitely not paying a running back. Because it just doesn't make sense, bro. It doesn't make sense. And he went absolutely bananas yesterday, over 300 yards from scrimmage. It was crazy. He's minus 320 to win Offensive Player of the Year.
Jesus.
So as long as if he plays these next 5 games, and then this week it's the Ravens and the Eagles, so that's going to be a showcase game. Mm-hmm. And the MVP thing, I think it's a serious conversation, man, because everyone was talking about it. But it's hard. Do you not give it to a quarterback? Because that's what it's been the last couple of years. And I also have Josh Allen.
If you have Allen.
Well, yeah.
I think I would be concerned. I think he has a shot to win the MVP.
And these quarterbacks, like Josh Allen, something just tells me he's due. Like, it'll be this weekend versus the 49ers, a complete fucking nothing burger of a game, 3 picks. And Josh Allen's out of contention.
On like Sunday Night Football.
Yeah,
too.
they'll win the game, but by like 2, and it'll look like trash. Yeah. Quarterbacks.
Give me another game you want to talk about. Actually, Jay, what game you want to talk about, bro? What game stood out to you yesterday, Week 12?
I watched the whole Cowboy game. Is Jaden Daniels overrated? Did he go like this and then he's getting brought right back down? He did not look good yesterday at all.
Is he still hurt?
He looks hurt.
Like he had that rib thing when they played the Bears, I remember. And then ever since then, I've heard like
they got to him yesterday, big time.
Yeah, Parsons had like 3 sacks.
Yeah, they were blitzing the shit out of him.
Bro, 3 losses for them in 2 weeks because they played that they lost the game, and then they played Thursday. They lost to the Steelers. Then they played Philly on Thursday, and then they played Dallas. But the Dallas loss is
Awful.
it's an awful loss.
And the kicker, it was just.
Oh my goodness, bro! Hold on, stay here for a second, Isaiah. Don't switch the camera. Am I the only one that's more nervous when a kicker attempts a under 35-yard field goal this year,
It's crazy.
as opposed to like a 50-yarder? Fairbairn on the Texans missed a 28-yard field goal. He hit a 56-yarder prior to that. Bro, when my kicker, if I have a bet and it's like a 36-yard attempt indoors, I'm shitting myself. If it's a 58-yarder, I'm like, yo, this is money. Why is that with kickers this year, bro?
I
It's the
said
weirdest thing.
I had dinner with Carlson and AJ Cole one day, and I was like, I have like some special teams coaching for you guys. I'm like, a lot of kicks are being blocked. I don't know if you've noticed that recently.
Mm-hmm.
They need to move the kicker back a little bit further, like an extra yard or two, because it's too close to the line. They're not getting the ball up, it seems, high enough. So I'm like, why don't you guys just move it back like an extra yard? I'm like, you guys are easily kicking 60-yard field goals now. But you're right. When it's that close, I feel like the snap should be further back so the ball could go up over the line. These guys are 6'9" with their arms up now. They're over 7 feet tall. It's too close. Like the Chiefs game, they're just like barreling through the line. So I think you're going to see a lot. I think they're going to move. They said that I was right. They're like, that you could do that.
Yeah, it makes sense. And like, bro, I kicked in high school and in college. The further back you were, your ball had a lower trajectory because, to your point, it's further back. You got to get more behind it.
Yeah.
Whereas like chip shot field goals, dude, when I used to kick, we would practice with a soccer net, and you would try to clear it from the 6-yard box in soccer. You would try to get it over the crossbar. That was like a drill you would do. And you would try to hit like 30, 40, and keep backing it up every 5 yards because that would work on your height and the range.
And then the block.
Well, I didn't kick off the block.
Oh, you didn't
I was
kick
a
off the
stud. I didn't do the block.
God damn.
Yeah.
People forget about the block.
The block was, but like the way I was training was like, yo, I'm not going to have this when I get to the next level. When I get to college, you didn't have the block in college for field goals. In high school, you did. But, bro, you know how many times I would kick the block like an asshole? Because I was a soccer kid growing up, so I didn't know how to properly hit a football. I was just like, yo, can we not use the block? And I remember the first time I did that, they were like, you don't want to use the block? I was like, nah, better
You
off.
could get it up so much easier off the block.
Bro, yeah, for sure.
Shout out to Long Island Flag football.
yeah. I feel you on that. Yeah, man, it was just something I was watching with the kickers, bro. And I was just like, yo, it's so weird, dude. Like, the Texans, right? They lose that fucking game. That's an awful loss, bro. All right, let me ask you this, George.
Yeah.
Worst loss. The Texans losing to the Titans, Commanders losing to the Cowboys, or how the Bears lost to claw back, send it to overtime. Like, I think all three of those were like heartbreaking losses.
For me, it's not even close. The Redskins.
Yeah.
Commanders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
do you
was
think?
That was
definitely
bad.
and here's the thing, like the Cowboys being such like an undisciplined team, which by the way, I didn't look up who scored that touchdown for the Cowboys. Hey, but bro, shout out to you. You're the fucking front linesman of kickoff in the NFL. Nobody knows your name. Score that touchdown. You take a knee. Your name's never in the fucking paper. You know, you take your fucking ass chewing. I loved it. I text Nick immediately, and I was like, look at Mike McCarthy. They're about to win a game, and he's over here huffing and puffing like he's not about to be fucking packing his bags. Like, enjoy this one, buddy. And then the Hail Mary attempt, which now I see it. I mean, I was like, damn, that 14 seconds, a little too much time maybe for Jaden Daniels. That's a shit way to lose. My God.
I just don't. My brother says this all the time. He like NFL coaches need common sense coaches. Like, it's so true. Like, there's a lot of situations in these games. Like, in the Cowboys defense, how do you let that happen? How do you let that happen? Like, how do you let that guy catch that ball? He wasn't even touched. You just like zigzagged all the 80 yards for a touchdown. No time left, no timeouts. Unbelievable.
Yeah. They're a very undisciplined team. I mean, did you see Trayvon Diggs and CD Lamb out Monday night after they lost last week? They were filming a music video at a club. You can't make this up. Like, it's a horrible look, but honestly, maybe it's a good look because then they come back and they win this week. Who knows?
It's the NFL. Like, you just never know.
Yeah.
You know what's always funny about this? They talk about it on It Is What It Is a lot, and it's cool to have that perspective because they've been fucking in the limelight for like 30 years, right? And they always talk about like how the main thing is the main thing. Like, yo, CD, you're making $35 million a year. What the fuck are we doing with the music video during the season? Like, why even invite the criticism? Your team is already in shambles. Bro, do it in the offseason. Why not? Like, how much are you going to make off this music video in comparison to what you're making on your contract?
What my take is, I feel like a lot of these players, these professional athletes, they're getting into the podcasting stuff now. They'd rather do that than play the sport. Like they get more joy out of doing that than playing the sport, which I think is cool in a way because like the media, like the guys who never played sports before are getting phased out, which is cool. And a lot more people are like giving credit to like the actual athlete, which I really like. I think Max Crosby has a great podcast. Micah has one. Like they're great. It's so cool for us to watch them like talk.
Yeah, you get a little behind the scenes of their life too, which is dope. Like people like seeing that.
Right, but it's like there's some like to your point with the CD Lamb thing. Like you're right. How much money are you getting? Like just shut that down. Like we're 3-11.
And like, yo, look, I always, as someone that's been in the space and us two have unique roles where like we do a lot of things in front of the camera where we host the show, but then we also do a lot of stuff behind the camera. And I always have this conversation with people that are like, dude, it must be so much work and you're so busy. And I'm like, not really. An hour and a half out of your day to actually film. Like, yeah, there's a lot of preparation that we're gathering, especially during football. It's very, what happened? What do we think is going to happen throughout the weeks? So like September to the Super Bowl, the shows are pretty much laid out unless we have guests like you where I'm like, yo, let's talk a little bit about New York and Vegas and like Formula One, right? But for the most part, it's like, yo, these are the games. What stood out to you? Let's talk about it. And then we're going to give a prediction for a game on Sunday for Monday, right? The Monday winner segment. But for the most part, that's the show. So the podcast space, it gets blown out of proportion when people are like, how dare he film a show? It's like, probably like 40. They're not editing.
Right.
So it's like, hey, we're filming at 7. We'll be done at 8. And then fucking Mike is going to edit it for us. And here are the clips for it. Well, so like it gets blown out of proportion also. But for me, it's like, dude, if I'm making $20 million a year podcasting, you're not going to see me go be a fucking Uber driver or a busboy or even like run a restaurant to make $300K. Like to me, that's where I'm like, Jay, I don't understand.
I think they do it for therapy. I really do. I think they do it. They want to get off like their side of the story, what's going on in their mind. It's like getting their stuff off their chest. But I look at things, Nick, and you can relate to this. Like, I grew up the biggest Yankee fan. And the guy who owned the Yankees would never, ever allow anything that goes on in sports. Like, Jeter went out once, and he was like, you're never going out again without me. Remember they did the commercial, Nick?
Yeah.
Like, that's how I would run my sports franchise. Like, very tight-knit. Like, the third baseman of the Yankees, I can't remember his name. He has the tie-dye glove. You see that? With all the colors on the glove. I was like, this would never happen if the old man was still alive. Like, times have changed.
No, for sure. And social media definitely plays a role in that. And you're right, man. Like, he said it. He's like, the two most important things in the world are breathing and winning.
Yeah.
Steinbrenner said that.
Yeah.
And he's like, if it wasn't for breathing, winning would be first, but I need that in order to win. Like crazy shit like that, bro. Like that's what it takes to be to set the standard
for
the
sure.
Yankees were. And then you see it now, like all the trickle down effect. To me, it just blows my mind that if I'm one of these guys, but then look, the counter could be like, yo, look what the Kelsey brothers did. Now
Amen to them. They're killing it.
Yeah, and now they're caking. So yeah, it's a fascinating discussion. I'm always open to hearing the perspectives. George, yeah, I texted you something yesterday, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah.
Why do I like Miami?
Because when they beat up on like shitty teams, it looks cool as fuck, bro. They look so fast. Oh my god.
Yo, you might be right.
Bro, and the all white, they are just like.
I didn't expect this to
swear.
be my response,
Nice
but I
and
think
warm.
I agree with you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mike McDaniel's vaping on the sideline.
Yeah,
It's just like great vibes.
Wearing off-white sneakers, looking dope as fuck.
Brings his daughter to the press conference so
Yeah,
people
yeah,
can't
yeah,
ask
yeah,
him
yeah.
about his vaping on the sideline. What a genius.
Damn, you might be right,
That
bro.
guy is like the ultimate players coach.
Oh, yeah.
Like he is just like, all right, if you guys just do this, this, and this, then I'll let you go do whatever you want as long as we just do this, this, and this.
That would
Just don't yell at me during this, and this, and then you could go and do your Instagram and your parties or whatever. He is definitely that person.
Yeah, he blends. We were talking about it, like how some players like should be telling their coaches like where they're at mentally more often. And I bet he knows exactly where everyone's at, you know? Like it actually surprised me that he wasn't out there saving Tyreek Hill week 1. Tyreek, that should have been your first phone call. Mike McDaniels
Right.
gets out there.
I'm a fan of him. I like him. I like Mike McDaniel. I think they're gonna ride with him for a bit, and I think they're gonna do some good things. But Tua's got to stay healthy.
Yeah, look,
Can't keep
I
having
just
this
think,
problem.
nah, for sure. And look, Miami's won 3 straight games. For as much, we've talked about this all the time, for as much shit as Tua gets, I've compared him to Dak so often.
Mm-hmm. It's a good comparison.
I think it's perfect, bro, because you might not want to pay him the $200 million that you did, but they're good enough to get you to the playoffs and to win divisions, to compete at least. And then if you don't pay him, what do you have? Like Miami wins 22% of their games without him, but when he's in the lineup, they're fucking amazing, and you see it. Now, again, they've scored 34 points in back-to-back games, Patriots and Raiders. You're not exactly lighting it up against good teams. This week, Thanksgiving, that game turned out to be I'm more excited for this game now than I was 2 weeks ago because the Dolphins play the Packers. Everyone knows, if you've been listening so far, I love the Packers. They're going outdoors. You're going to see all the reports of like Tua, when it's under 40 degrees, he's awful. And he is. 1-10 against the spread in games that are under 40 degrees. And he hasn't won a game.
Cold.
He hasn't won a game under 40 degrees. And now you have the Packers, right? And like, bro, the Packers schedule, you know, I'm always telling you about like great schedule. They got a pretty tough schedule to close out.
Division.
That
entire
Right, the
like,
top
bro,
3 is insane.
they're going to play each other. You're going to see a lot of intense NFC North
I
games.
think the Packers are plus 380 to win the division.
Yeah, that one's tough though.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be Detroit.
Me too.
No,
I think it'll be Detroit to win the
that's actually
division.
pretty appealing.
I like. It wasn't your take about the Bucks? That
Yeah.
was yours, right?
Yeah, bro.
Oh, and it's looking perfect.
Yeah.
And the Saints, secretly, when I gave him away at 60-1, looks even, it's still in play. Like, that entire division is garbage, but not like NFC West garbage. That's a little more put together garbage. The NFC South is literally like just like Hurricane Katrina did what it did, and like it just is literally never came back. Even after the Super Bowl, it's gone to shit.
that
entire area.
Nah, bro. That division, and that's the thing. Like, you trust Kirk Cousins,
Nope.
bro? He's been awful this year.
I like Baker, man.
He's such
he's
a
good.
fucking G, dude.
So awesome. He did the thing.
Yo, yeah, I loved it. Yo, shout out to Baker. Shout out to you.
Oh, yeah.
Because the graphic that we show for his, it says Baker Mayfield Truther. And I was so happy about it as it's flashing right now on the screen. Top 5 bald guy. I got to change that to top bald guy in the game right
There
now.
we go.
He
Baker
is.
Mayfield
He's
Truther.
awesome, man.
But dude, I was so happy because I was worried about fucking Tommy DeVito going on another random ass winning streak and fucking up another draft class like he did last year. And I don't even want to get into that because I've expressed my feelings about him and all this shit.
I watch a lot of college football. I'm not blown away by the quarterback class in this upcoming year.
Would you put Shadur 1?
No,
I wouldn't put him 1
I don't
either.
think so because he doesn't. I haven't seen him play like the SEC.
Yeah.
I want to see him play like the top dogs, and I don't feel like if he, obviously Deion's his dad. If Deion wasn't, he wouldn't be in the top 5.
I agree. Yeah, he would have to hand the ball off a lot more often than he does now.
Now Travis Hunter, on the other hand, He's unbelievable.
He will be the first NFL player that
he's
plays
really good.
both sides of the
he's
ball
really
like regularly, without a doubt.
Who do you want, Nick? Who do you want as your quarterback? You have your pick of anybody.
Or do you guys go and get one, not in the draft, but established?
I would do that.
There's only one person that can save the Giants, and it's a Manning. I want Archie, bro. I want to wait. I want to wait.
Away.
I want to wait another 2. Why? I mean,
What, are you gonna do a pre-draft? Just give away the whole.
I just want him to. That's who I want. Arch Manning. In
That's who you
Texas.
want.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
Let him wear number 10. Also, bring that shit back. The nostalgia.
I know this for a fact. If I was an NFL owner or GM, I would do the same exact thing the Steelers did. I would get 2 quarterbacks.
Agreed.
I would get 2 B+. I would get a B+ and an A-. One goes down, or you could go back and forth. I would do that forever.
I mean, bro, the Commanders that did it when they were the Redskins with RG3 and they took Kirk Cousins in the same draft. Like RG3,
You need to do that.
he was a little bit more of a raw prospect, and of course that first year he went crazy in the Rookie of the Year. But they had Kirk Cousins in that same draft. People forget that.
They should add another roster spot, and I think you're going to see more teams do it.
I want Archie Manning, bro. I just feel like
You're
it'd be
sold on his 4 starts.
Yeah, I'm sold because I think it's the pedigree of the Manning. I think it's like there's no way he's gonna be whack.
But the problem is,
Agreed.
Nick, he might not be whack, but the team might be whack.
Yeah,
And that's
but it's
scary.
so let's take. So say they get the number 1 pick. What I would like for them to do,
Just sit out a year.
No, do what Chicago did.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the Bears did.
Trade
Just
that.
keep trading.
No,
building
trade
it.
that to like a Raiders. Because, the Raiders are in love with Shador.
Yep.
Fucking Mark Davis talks to him. Tom Brady's the owner now.
But what if
What I do, best case scenario, Giants get the number 1 pick. Unless they absolutely love one of these guys, unless they're sold, then that's a different combo. But for me, I get the number 1 pick. I have 17 issues on my roster. There's like 4 guys I really like. Yo, Raiders, you got the 6th pick or whoever it might be. Give us the Chicago Bears deal where we're going to get maybe 2 stud players, a first this year, a first next year, a 2 next year, and then we wait for Archie. Well, Arch, Manning, full circle.
what if he
and
stays
now I have
though?
assets.
What if he stays at Texas?
Bro, Eli's going to be like, come on, dude, you're going to New York. Give me a start. He'll let you wear my number, too.
I don't know if Eli's gonna let him go. He might pull his dad and be like, "You can't go to the Giants, man. We got to get you in a better situation."
Nah, they have a soft spot for the man. Jay, fuck you, man. You're a Cowboys fan. You don't want me to be happy. That's how I saved the Giants.
Honestly, I'm hating on the Giants bad because it's funny. The last time I was here, the Derek Carr situation happened.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny to make fun of Daniel Jones, but like when he got up there and did that press conference, like I really felt bad for that guy.
Did you laugh or did you like? You were unsure. Did you think it was AI? What was going through your head?
Here's what was going through my head: that if I was up there in that guy's shoes, I would have trashed the organization.
Yep.
I would have been like, I want to win, and these pieces of what have no clue what the hell they're doing. And if you're a football player, you should never come here. Like, these guys are such I would never be able to hold it in. Like, hit that poor guy. He's not a great player. But he also didn't have any good players around him. He had nothing.
Yeah.
He had no whole line. He had literally no receivers. He lost his best player. He had, like, no freaking hope.
And you know what else is very telling? When they got rid of him, a lot of players came out pissed. That tells you a
and they
lot that you
should.
need to know. That tells you a lot. And yo, I'm telling you, bro, especially for how down bad the Giants are, he's going to go to a Niners, Rams, Vikings.
Play great.
Good offensive mind. Don't need to play right away. Yo, just chill, bro. Stafford's on his way out. Just stay here.
Yep.
You'll have Puka. You'll have Cooper Kupp, Kieran Williams. We're good. We'll give you a 1-year prove-it deal like we did with Baker. And then I guarantee you that's going to happen.
He
And it's going to
deserves
go to
it.
one
I
of
mean,
those kind of teams.
I don't know. I'm getting into our segue. Like, what's happening to these players is just not right. You can't do that to somebody like him. Like, just be like, you know what, you're trash. See you later. Get the hell out of here. We're releasing you. It's such a bad look for the franchise. It's a bad look for the NFL. Like, ride out the year, and then if he doesn't want to come back, get rid of him. But to do it with, what is there, 6, 7 games left? Like, what kind of, like, precedent does that set for your organization? Who's going to want to come play on your team?
Neighbors already wants out, and like you said, he got here
He's
2
your
weeks
best
ago,
player by a mile. He's like,
and he just got
trade
here.
me.
Yeah, no, it's bad, man. They're in a terrible spot.
Yeah.
What do you think about this?
Well, I mean, I felt bad for Daniel Jones. I never thought that would possibly ever happen. Like, the fact that he came out with the press conference 2 hours after I see that he was playing scout team safety, like, it just all seemed so fast, like unreal. And have you guys seen the rumors that, like, what if the Cowboys get him for the Thanksgiving game?
Oh, that'd be great.
That'd be great.
I'd bet him anytime touchdown. I'd put the whole fucking November Patreon on that shit.
Yes, sir.
100%.
It's like, that's when you really root for, like, just the person. Like, forget about the player. Like the guy's a human. And, like, you could tell he was upset. And you could tell that, like, he really cares. But, like, he was just, you can't make chicken salad out of chicken shit. Like, I would have said that. I'm sorry. Like, we just can't make chicken salad out of this chicken shit team we got.
Jay,
I don't know what else you want me to do.
Let me tell you something. If I was Daniel Jones, what I would do. Because, I'm a very spiteful person. If you spite me, I'm very petty. I remember everything, bro. Like, I'm kind of a piece of shit sometimes. If you do me wrong, right? If I know that the bridge has been fucking nuked and not even, you can't repair this shit for nothing.
Decimated, yeah.
I'm going up there. I'm like, yo, fuck this team. Fuck Brian Dable. Fuck MetLife Stadium. Fuck the offensive line. Fuck everybody.
Yep.
I go in there like Stone Cold Steve Austin, 1998, just raising hell, trashing fuck the Maras, everybody. Suck my balls. You look, and I would just go on a fucking tear of the whole organization, and they'd be like, all right, I'm leaving. You ain't releasing me.
Yeah.
I'm fucking out of here. That's what I would do.
It's
if
like
I was Daniel
Saquon
Jones.
2.0. Like, Saquon
bro,
was
also-
pissed, bro.
Yo, listen, man. There's a big part of me that if you were to do a pie chart, I don't think he's the biggest piece of the pie that is the issue with the Giants. Like, yeah, does he do dumb shit? Does he still makes some mistakes that he does his rookie year? But bro, there's a part of me, and then you saw it yesterday play out, like, hey, we got a new quarterback in there. Guess what? Same problems. Neighbors is like, bro, it's not the QB. And Neighbors is 100% right.
He's right.
He's right. It's not the quarterback. And again, this organization has been
They're gonna
bad.
fire. They're gonna fire.
You got to clean house. You got to clean house. You gotta bring Tom Coughlin back in some sort of capacity to reverse the jinx.
Yeah.
There's in Giants lore when they made him retire instead of he stepped down because they're like, yo, we don't want to fire you, but we gotta let you go, kind of thing. The Maras stood up to shake his hand and he just walked by him. And it's like, since then, they're like 37 and 158,000 is their record.
Yeah.
I think we're seeing these owners, they're getting more involved than they've ever been in decision making. And I think that's why a lot of these franchises just like, it's not like they're missing, but like they're not even close. They're not even close, like, to turning things around and like putting it in a positive direction. I don't know.
Do you think it's the Jerry Jones effect? Like,
It might be
where they're like,
it might be.
we want to be remembered as something, because a lot of these owners, I mean, unless they win the fucking Super Bowl, nobody's going to know what they look like. I mean, or unless you're a fan of the team. So I think there is a bit of that where they're like, I have to leverage my power in this position, when in reality, it's like, you were like really good at, that would be like Steve Ballmer making like player decisions. Steve Ballmer will build an amazing stadium. He'll be the hype man, but he's not going to make player decisions for the Clippers.
One of my favorite coaches is Bill Parcells. Like, when he was the Cowboys coach, they said like Jerry would come on the field and he'd be like, get the fuck off the field.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then Jerry would be like, well, we have, no. He would just say, no, nope, I'm doing it my way. Like, there's no Bill Parcells right now.
No, there's
Maybe Andy Reid.
That's
it.
Honestly, I think it's Andy Reid, Tomlin
for sure.
maybe Harbaugh on the Ravens. Again, these are guys that have been there for so long. Like, bro, it was a couple months ago when he got one of the wins, like when they went to like 3-0, 4-0. He won more games now with the Chiefs than he did with Philly.
He's unbelievable.
And it's like, to me, I still think of him as an Eagle, but a lot of the Chiefs guys that I follow on social media that have been to the studio a bunch of times, the KC Sports Network, shout out to those guys. They're like, yo, he's ours. Like, we claim him now. So to your point, there isn't. There's like maybe 3 or 4 of them. And I kind of feel like McVay might be one of those guys too, where like he could be like, yeah. Let me handle this shit. Because again, they have the cachet, the experience, and like the results too.
I think Campbell's working into that.
Campbell would be it just based on scary vibes.
Yeah.
Like that owner doesn't want to get on Campbell's bad side. Like
Campbell will fuck you up,
Right,
bro.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Truthfully, though, that should be the order of operations in the building. It's like if your head coach isn't the commander of the fucking ship and everybody knows it, there's a problem.
Here's a good example. I coach sports out here. I coach lacrosse. I loved coaching my team because there was no athletic director above me.
Mm-hmm.
I was the top. I had somebody to the side helping me, but I was the top. I didn't have somebody like breathing down my neck. And that's how it is a lot in sports of coaching, where you coach and you have your athletic director, you have the owner all over you.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm realizing, Nick, you don't have to be a good coach to make a lot of money in sports. And a lot of these college coaches and a lot of these big NFL coaches, they're making so much money and they're just not good at their job. So maybe we need to segue into some coaching down the line.
Just be a great hype person. That's all you got to do.
Did you see the segment with the Chiefs guy, the coach on the Chiefs with the one arm? Nick,
No.
Did you see this?
No. What was it? Can you tell me about
Yeah,
it?
he's a coach on the Chiefs, and he never played football before. And I'm like, how is this guy a coach, but he never played football before? And they're like, hey, he just got like a random job, a stats job, and he worked his way up in the organization. And now he's Mahomes' guy. Now he's a coach. He's a really good coach. I'm like, damn, maybe I missed my calling where you don't even need to play the sport to get up there.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's the hustle and shit, dude. You know what Baldy has to do. Those guys are just sitting there fucking replaying the same halfback sweep over and over and over again.
Yeah. Should we talk
you
about
could
Baldy?
do it. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, well, let's do that now since you brought it up. I was going to save it to close the show, but since you brought it up, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Brian Baldinger.
Baldy. Uncle Baldy.
Uncle Baldy.
Uncle Brian.
Let's go, bro.
Let's go.
That's so fire.
Yeah, he's the best.
For those that don't know about it, probably I'm not just saying it. I've told you this before I even knew, because
Yeah.
he set me up. He was like, yo, what do you think of Brian Baldinger? I'm like, bro, I love Baldy breakdowns. He's like, yo, that's my uncle. I was like, no shit.
You're like, you motherfucker.
Imagine if I was like, yo, I don't like him at all. And then he told me, but it wasn't the case. I fuck with that because we talk about it on the show all the time, Jay, how like, I'm not a fan of PFF. I feel like it's very misleading, but I value their O-line, D-line stuff because a lot of times, like, I'll watch a Max Crosby against Trent Williams on like a 3rd and 8, right? But for the most part, he's breaking down so much shit that it's very insightful. And, family of yours.
Yeah, so Uncle Brian, I've known him since birth. He's not my blood uncle, but in the family, he's Uncle
Bro,
Brian,
as New
right?
Yorkers, you know how many uncles
So
I have that
him
are
and my
in real
dad were
family?
very good friends, but he played for a very long time, and then he just dedicated his life to being an analyst of literally everything. So I've never met anyone like him because that guy watches film for 13 to 15 hours a day. Like, people say they dedicate their life. Like, this guy dedicates his life. But the coolest part for me, as I've watched him grow, and I think he's the best by an absolute mile, is that whenever I bring him up to like players or other people, they just no one has one bad thing to say about him. He's never negative to players. He's on the air. He's never he always tries to like be a positive light in his breakdowns and the way he talks about football, but he just knows literally everything. Like, if you asked him, like, hey, on the 2021 Patriots, like, who had the fastest 40 time, like, he would know that. Like, he would just know how many like out routes the Arizona Cardinals ran last week compared to the Giants. Like, he just knows things that no one else is like deep diving into football.
Mm-hmm.
And so his like effort to grow it, and I'm so happy for him that his platform is like blowing up, and it should, because he's putting in so much work. And he was explaining, he's like, when I go in these shows, and he's like, I could tell right away who doesn't watch film, and like they just get up there and they try to wing it, and they're like trying to take his notes and his takes, but he puts his life into it, and he's killing it. So,
Yeah,
shout out Uncle Brian, man.
Bro, he loves him.
Baldy's breakdowns, the best.
You just know. I mean, it's such a technical sense of being able to understand what the best offensive linemen in the NFL and in college do. I mean, I was telling you that I would film my brother when he was playing at San Jose. I haven't done it this year for Arkansas because I've been at the games. But yeah, as soon as a play would finish, you film it, brother pancake somebody. I'd be like, that's how you finish a block on the next level.
Yeah, his like little he picks out things that like just randomish things in the game where you're like, oh, that didn't. Like, he's huge on running backs picking up blitzers. He's huge on that.
Yeah.
Because he's like, if that guy didn't pick up that, it's like getting like the assist. That like nobody cares about the guy who got the assist. Everybody cares about who scored the goal.
Yep.
He's huge on that. Like, he always brings up like, look at this blitz pickup that he stuffed him. And I don't know, he just kicks butt. And the players love him. Like, Max Crosby loves Baldy because like he just understands like what's going on. And he just, I think, the dynamic, because I'm friends with Max a little too, that he really put Max on, like really showcasing him, like how great of a player Max was like early on and how he developed. So that's really cool to kind of see, like, he could spot out. He told me when I was young that Adrian Peterson was going to be the best player ever to play football. Like, when he was a freshman in college, he told me that. Like, I don't know how he saw that, how he knew it, but he just freaking knew, like right on the ball of how accurate that was.
Bro, I love hearing stories about that because we always talk about the it factor gets thrown out so much, but like the people that have that and like how it stands out, like, it's dope, bro. Like, quick story, when I went to school in Buffalo, I don't know if you're familiar with like how hockey works in college, but a lot of times guys that are freshmen in college and play hockey, they're like 22, 23 years old because they go and they play juniors after high school. And then they'll be like 21, 22-year-old freshmen, right?
They reclass.
Yeah.
They reclass.
And what happened was we called them the Canucks because it was like these 4 dudes from Vancouver. They were playing hockey at Buffalo State. And they were telling us that Patrick Kane, who used to play for the Blackhawks, won Mass Stanley Cups, like one of the greatest American players ever. They were like, yo, when he was 8, he was playing under 15s hockey. And everyone was just like, bro, he's going to the NHL like 100%. So like the it factor, how you said Baldy saw him as a freshman in college, and to say that, like, bro, last non-quarterback to win MVP, AP.
Yep.
Crazy shit. That's dope.
We gotta get him. We gotta get him on the show.
Oh, bro, I would love to, man.
He'll definitely come on. He was just on the Barstool one. He just goes on. If you invite him, he'll go. He just loves talking about football. But like the in-depthness of the stats is.
His handicapping would be the most valuable thing in the world. If you know who's going to win the offensive line battle or the defense line battle, you can win, I would say, 90% of your sports bets. Like, if you have like a very, very confident understanding.
I think he's more talented in the player development side. It's hard to pick. It's like, it's hard to, like, there's a lot going on with that many players, right? But I think his special talent is he could look at guys and early and be like, that guy's a winner. This guy maybe, this guy's definitely a winner. And he could point out, because I think teams, they consult with him. They're like, who do you like?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why wouldn't you pay somebody money who watches somebody who was watching your own scout versus somebody like Uncle Brian who's 15 hours a day, every single day, for a long time.
For the last 40 years.
Yeah, for the last 30, 40 years of doing this. Like, let's get his opinion too. It's worth it to get his opinion. And I think it's starting to rub off on sports agents too. they're going to him and being like, "Can you look at some tape for us?" He blew it up into his own whole different sector of a business that not really anyone's ever done before. So it's really cool. He's making like watching film, like what Gruden.
Yeah,
The
for sure.
The Gruden camp thing.
Yeah.
Very similar.
Oh, bro, it's the best. That video you tagged me in, I loved it so much about him being with the analytics guy. Because, bro, I hate analytics, bro.
Said, I'll take an analytic.
Right,
Oh, yeah.
The analytics where he's like, yo, analytic guys, they tell us to go for it on 4th and 2, and then we don't get it. He goes, hey, analytics, fuck you.
Yeah.
That's the greatest video ever. Because, bro, I hate that shit. Like, the analytics, I'll never understand
you gotta
it.
have a feel for it.
Yeah,
Feel like-
yeah, and that's the thing. Like, bro, maybe every scenario, 4th and 3 in this spot, this much time left, I shouldn't get it. But is my quarterback on fire that day? Is he 34 of 38 and just like cooking? Is my quarterback also Daniel Jones or is it Joe Burrow?
Or you could just be like Dan Campbell. We're going for it anytime,
Yeah,
no matter
we're just
what.
going for it
On
all
the
the
road,
time.
at home,
Going for it
neutral
all the
side, we're
time.
going.
Yeah.
Fire away.
All right, real quick before we get into Monday winners, a little bit of a Thanksgiving theme for this one. Patreon, roll call. Shout out to the members of the Patreon. Like I said, we're up to 84 members. All we ask for is $1 a month. $1 a month. We're going to $1 our ways to being a 5-figure Patreon. Patreon.com/veterans minimum. Shout out to Daniel Gibson, Mahul Patel, Abel Rezin, Ben Kotzian, Christopher Velasquez, Derek Plades, Dylan Chadwick, Devin Rendon, Jerry Shapiro, Jordan Riley, Mike Stevens, Nick Crummich, and Thomas Robinson. Thank you all for your contributions to the Patreon. $1 American dollar. That's all we ask for.
Literally. It's good luck.
It's good luck. It's a good omen.
Yeah.
Good omen. George,
Mhm.
a little bit of a remix for Monday winners.
Got it.
We got 3 games. Actually, we got 4 games midweek this week. We got 3 on Thanksgiving. And then there's the Black Friday game. It's the Chiefs going up against the Raiders as 11-point favorites. Let's give out picks for Thanksgiving, bro.
I was about to say that Chiefs game blew up to 13 now.
13
I'm
now.
seeing
Oh, yeah,
it,
because Gardner Minshew's out.
Real quick, the Ravens won today?
Yeah, they won 30 to 23, yeah. Can we start with that Chiefs game?
Yeah.
I've been waiting for this game since these fucking Raider fans have been talking about how they were the last ones to beat them at home.
Oh, yeah, he's
prior to
getting
that.
smoked.
They're losing by 30.
Mhm.
What'd you say,
80 more.
13 points?
Yeah.
Not enough. Alternate line spread 19 and a half.
Yeah, they
They're
wouldn't get
gonna-
up for the Panthers. Like they've been circling this game since the beginning of the year.
This was, I actually ended up betting on the Patreon. I bet the Panthers at +11, but because
You
it
bet
just
the
felt
Panthers?
+11. Yeah, I can't quit them, bro. I can't quit them. Yo, bro, hold on. Oh my god, dude, I just remembered. I was at his crib week 1.
Oh my god!
I've talked about it on
Yeah.
the pod. This is the Jason whose house I was at, and I walk in, and him and his brother show me mad love, fucking amazing setup, mad TVs and shit, beautiful home. He's like, "Yo, what's your favorite bet?"
He said, "Put the
Bro.
Panthers
And
on."
I'm like, "Oh no, that's what it was." He was like, "Yo, what game do you want on?" I was like, "Yo, I want the Panthers game on. I love the 4.5."
With confidence.
With
I've
confidence,
ever
right?
seen.
Mind you, I went 4-1 that week, right?
did.
But the video we put out was the Panthers game. And then, bro, I swear to God, George, every time they go, let's cut back to New Orleans, it's either a turnover or the Saints are scored. And it's like 28-0 at halftime. And his brother just looks at me and goes, Panthers, huh?
Like he was so confident.
I know. I sit here on the show with him.
They
He
were
was always
horrible.
telling me that the fucking Panthers are going to win the division. I'm like,
'Cause I listen to his picks like a lot. I'm like, who do you like? Like I value his information and his research. And I was like, in my mind, I'm like, how is he so confident in this team? They were horrible last year. But it was good to see Bryce Young. He kind of got a little juice in him yesterday.
Yeah, nah, he played well, man. He played well. And I think him getting benched turned out well. But I think my play for these 4 games is definitely the Chiefs. Chiefs Friday winner, if we want to call it that. I think they've been waiting to be like, oh, yo, y'all were the last ones to beat us in Arrowhead? I bet. Watch this. Now they might start like Spencer Rattler. I think he might be in there. And we know that guy likes to fucking point shave because no one was fucking throwing games like he was. I think they beat the shit out of them.
yeah.
Bad. I think they embarrass them.
No, I'm with you. You want to stay far away from the Cowboys Giants game. They should ship that one. out of town.
Yeah,
Right,
let
they
me
should just cancel.
let me read you.
Honestly,
They should just cancel that game.
Yeah. Nah, I feel you on that. Let me read you a couple of stats, George. Ready for this?
yeah.
Since 2004, favorites on Thanksgiving are 48-9 straight up,
Damn.
38-19 against the spread. Favorites, you're gonna like this. Favorites of over 10 points, 9-0 against the spread. The last 9 times this has happened on Thanksgiving.
And the Lions are 10.5-point favorites.
Yep. And yo, what have we said about the Lions? When they play shit teams, they embarrass them. Also, you know what else? I know it's in division. Last year they lost to the Packers on Thanksgiving. It was one of my favorite bets. I had them on the money line, the Packers, and I had them at +8, and they won outright. Dan Campbell's a pretty spiteful dude. Like, he beat the shit out of the Cowboys because I think what happened with that 2-point conversion thing. And I think he's going to want to get some get back on Thanksgiving. And, yo, look.
So let's parlay.
Let me tell you this. This is another one. Ready for this? The Lions, Thanksgiving, Jared Goff and Dan Campbell haven't won yet.
Let's parlay. Let's do the Chiefs adjusted and the Lions adjusted for that.
19.5.
Yeah.
Make it, put it up to +400 and let it ride.
Yo, look, I mean, if you're into big money line favorites, based on these trends, 48-9 are just the favorites. If you do a Chiefs and Lions just money line, you get -180. Not terrible. It's like laying juice on like a favorite.
-180? Those two parlayed?
Yeah, just
-180, and then toss the Packers in there as the Tua and Mike McDaniels can't play in the cold. And now you're definitely to plus money.
Now you're at +190 over there.
There we go.
Because, look, that's another one, right? I was talking about it before, but to be exact, Tua has played in 40-degree temperature or less with the Dolphins. He's 0-4 straight up, 1-3 against the spread. And when he doesn't cover by close to
I'm doing that.
touchdowns.
I'm doing the Chiefs Lions.
Chiefs Lions.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. And then like if you want to dabble a little bit, 19.5 for both of them. Just beat the shit out of both those teams.
Yeah.
I like doing the reverse way. I like doing if a team's +3 and then doing -3.5 and getting the plus on that.
Yeah.
I love doing that.
That's been a big trend lately I've seen in the sports betting community, where if you're really confident, say a team is a 7-point underdog and you're like, bro, they're going to win outright. Like, I just feel it.
Do it -2.5.
-2.5 or -3. And you could probably get more than the money line. Definitely you get more than the money line.
Sure.
So like where the money line might be like
Reverse
+360,
teaser. Yeah.
you might get like +320.
Do you follow the guy Marco? He's
The $1 million better guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen his stuff.
I did it yesterday because his he was so confident in the Titans. He's like, I'm putting everything in the Titans. Like, the Titans are gonna win. So like their -2.5 was huge. It was in the upper 200s.
Yeah, they were 9-point underdogs, so
Yeah.
can imagine.
What the hell did he know?
Yeah, I don't know, but he knew something.
God.
Yo, I have a anytime touchdown parlay for you.
Okay.
I think you're gonna like this one a lot.
Is it going to be with like a fullback in there?
No. It's
What?
it's all running backs.
Okay.
Gibbs,
All right.
if Montgomery plays, Jacobs in the Packers game, your boy Achan,
Mm-hmm.
and then DeAndre Swift revenge game. We had Gus Edwards +450 if you're in the Discord. We gave that out.
Revenge games feel kind of fucking shitty right now, Nick. My revenge game dude got injured at half. J.K. Dobbins never made it back out.
Never made it back out.
Motherfucker.
Yeah,
You guys are into the player. I've never done one of those. I guess I'm behind the ball.
Yo, so
A ladder or revenge?
The anytime parlay.
Yeah.
So yo,
That's a new thing.
I'll tell you this much. This year, Monday winners are 10-4-1 on the year. So it's the games that we preview, and then Trust Me is now 9-4. My against the spread record this year is like 2 games above 500. If it wasn't for anytime TDs, I'd be in the gutter because I've hit some monster ones. Like we were here when we were recording Mark Andrews 35-1 to score twice. I'd given that out. So like it's a cool market because most of them are like pluses, right?
Right, because you could lose 7 and 8 and still profit.
Yeah, and still profit. And then also what I like doing is, and it doesn't always work out, but the Eagles game yesterday was a great example. He's -210 to score 1 touchdown, Saquon Barkley, but he's +400 to score 2. So I always just bet him to score 2 because I'm like, it's heavily favored for him to score 1, and then maybe he stumbles in. But I'm not laying minus 210 on it anytime.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I'd rather just try it because that's a massive swing. That's a $6 swing. Obviously, he needs to do it twice. But for me, that's kind of how I like betting anytime touchdowns. But I've been pretty solid on those, man. And again, you get some like you'll get guys returning off injury or like suspensions, and you're like, bro, plus 210. Week 1, he was minus 150. What the fuck? And then they score touchdowns. So it's an interesting market.
You follow that injury report on Sunday morning, you could find some serious value.
Wow.
You're just somewhat football sensey enough.
Dude, this was a banger of a show, man. Thanks
Love
for
it.
coming on.
Of course, man. Pleasure.
You're the
You guys
truth.
are kicking butt. Keep going. This thing's gonna be huge, man.
I appreciate that, man. I've told like I told you in the beginning of the show, that means a lot to come from you, and the friendship that we've built since I moved out here. You know, it. Like I said, I don't use the term big bro often, but I do look at you that way.
I appreciate it, man.
Let the people know where they can find you on
Let's
social.
go at J Griggs Real Estate. We got to buy you the next content house, man.
Yo, imagine just a DJ
Build that,
crib.
build out the crib.
A wall screen just like this.
Yeah.
We have all the games.
I mean, I've
live
told them when the time
streaming set.
comes and I'm ready to buy a crib, I'm going to Jay. Got to keep it in the family.
Yeah, you
know?
got it.
Yeah.
George, where can they find you, bro?
At Mr. George Carmona. And where can they find you, Nick?
At Nick Dais 10, you can find me. All things Veterans Minimum or at Veterans Minimum. And we'll see you guys later.
Peace.
In his element, I'm a gold medalist, bronze like your medal is. So many deer in headlights, but it's bedtime. Hear that supper bell, main course, be the venison.
Dab. Most dangerous game. Either kill or be killed.